welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are going over everything that went down in Game 1 yesterday. We're also talking about the latest update with Sha'Carri Richardson. But before we dive in, subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. I see us both trying to adjust our backdrops just ever so subtly without actually being subtle.
Jackie, that is so funny that we both just did that. We hadn't seen ourselves on the screen until this very moment, and I realized you guys can see the packaging for the bikini that I ordered sitting on my bar stool over there. Jackie's off kilter, so we needed to make some minor adjustments. That's so funny. Thanks for bearing with us, you guys. Jackie, how are you doing today? And I know we're going to get into Game 1, but I want to know, did you watch the game go down last night?
I did. I had a podcast that happened during the first half, but I saw the second half, and I wasn't at all surprised by what I saw. We'll talk more about that. It was exactly like I said, though. It was kind of like watching, and then, oh, there's TikTok. Watching. Oh, look at this on Instagram. It wasn't like my full attention that I usually pay, so it was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is when we have a team like the Suns in the finals. I mean, the Bucks are a little bit more of a team that you would reasonably expect to be there just based on the last few seasons, I guess, but the Suns were definitely the wild card here, and I think that's showing in the numbers. Actually, just before we went live, Jackie, you were talking about the number of views for Game 1 yesterday. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so that was my first question. Is everyone thinking like me? And it's one of those things where people may or may not watch it. So 6.4 million people tuned in last night, which is down 18% from Game 1 last season. And I think it said something like 20% down from Game 1 the season before that. So it's nobody's really, now they do anticipate, but we'll have to see. So I'll let you know the next game. They do anticipate those numbers going up as the series progresses. But yeah, 18% decline from last season. That's a big deal.
That's a very, very, very big jump. And I know that the number 6 million people sounds big, but down 18% is huge. And I feel like this just goes to show that the finals are definitely not rigged, or else they'd have the sparklier, flashier teams in there like the Lakers and the Nets as opposed to the Suns and the Bucks. Let's discuss things a little bit. The Suns came out looking really amazing in the team's first NBA Finals appearance in practically 3 decades. It's been a long time since they've been here, but they looked good. They looked like they definitely fit in. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks 118-105 last night. A big third quarter really helped secure the Suns' victory. They outscored the Bucks by 11 throughout that quarter. And Chris Paul really showed up as the star. He took control of the game, and he scored 16 points in that quarter. He ended up finishing with 32 points. So he was just definitely on it. It was really good to see him performing as well as he was. That being said, Devin Booker also really stood out. He put up 27 points, and DeAndre Ayton also did. He recorded a double-double with 22 points and 19 rebounds. The Suns at one point in the third quarter led by 20 points. That's a big lead that they had, and they entered the final 12 minutes up by 17. Even though the Bucks ended up walking away with the loss, they did still look pretty good. And Jackie, just as you predicted, Giannis did suit up in the game. You said that you thought he was going to make an appearance at some point during this series. I don't think any of us really expected it to be Game 1. He was still ruled out I think it was just like minutes before tip-off. Yeah. So we found out very last minute that he was going to be playing. But with him on the squad, they were able at multiple points in the fourth quarter to cut the lead to single digits, but that still wasn't enough for them to take home the win. Giannis looked really good. It was actually pretty astonishing to see. He didn't have any sort of noticeable limp. He wasn't wincing. He wasn't like wobbling in any way. He looked 100% healthy, and he finished with 20 points and 17 rebounds. So he definitely put up a strong performance, and it was obvious that he was eager to be back on the floor and excited to be there. Chris Middleton ended up being the top scorer for the Bucks, and he put up 29 points. So overall, I mean, it wasn't exactly a close game, but both teams did look really good. Do you think it was a bad idea for Giannis to play having just come off of that injury? Do you think he needed a little bit more rest time?
From what I saw from him, no. I mean, he seemed great. I didn't see, like you said, I didn't see him wincing. I didn't see him babying that injury. That happens a lot when they have a injury that's still kind of bothering them. They'll favor that injury. I didn't see that at all. I thought he looked really good. He had a double-double going into the half. So I thought he played well. The problem is, and I know I'm going to get dragged for this. Giannis is the problem on that team, not in a bad way. Now, I don't want to say that he's not talented, but he is the problem on that team. We were talking about that before we went on. And I have pinpointed the problem with the Bucks, and it's Coach Mike Budenholzer. He is the problem with that team because he had an amazing opportunity to see how dope Chris Middleton is and how Chris Middleton kind of needs to take the lead. One of the things that we saw from Giannis is his biggest asset is he's big. There were several times where I got frustrated watching him play because I was like, all right, do you even know where you're at in relation to the basket, bro? Like, you just put your head down, bullied in, and then threw it up, hoping to draw the foul. Because that's his style of play, he's missing opportunities where guys are open. He's not creating plays. He kind of clogs the lane. There's a lot of negatives that come with Giannis's play. All of them he can be coached out of, though. That's number one. All of these are coachable things that he can be coached out of. Do I think you can coach him out of them by game one? No, but you can change up your offense. Your offensive scheme right now, until you coach Giannis out of this, while you are trying to win this chip, should not run through Giannis. It should run through Chris Middleton. And if they're not going to change this up, it might be Suns in 4. I don't even know. It might be Suns in 4. I can't put this on anyone else but Coach Mike. I really can't. It's not, the talent is there. The ability is there. Bully ball has its place. We've seen LeBron do this time and time again. He'll try to be the facilitator. He'll try to pass the ball here. He'll try to throw guys open. When it doesn't work, and he reverses ball. Bully ball is not a bad thing. I'm not dissing bully ball. Everything in this game has its place. But when that is your only game, that is a problem. But shouts out to him for getting those free throws off in less than 10 seconds. He did that.
Giannis also did something else that we're going to be talking about in the post-up, which I'm excited to get into. I thought this was a really cool moment from him. But that's coming up a little bit later in the show. Jackie, just what you were saying about Coach Mike Budenholzer, do you think that even if the Bucks walk away with the championship, that his status with the team could still be a little bit up in the air? If he truly is the problem, as you're suspecting, does the outcome of this series really matter in terms of his employment with the Bucks?
I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything that all of us haven't said before in regards to Coach Mike. But do I think his job is in jeopardy? Absolutely not. When you get a team to this point, and they haven't really been to this point in a long while, you can pretty much take a sigh of relief and know that you get to take some of the credit for that. Unfortunately, he's not going to take much credit for the failure that we're seeing from the Bucks right now. It's going to be, oh, if Giannis had done this, oh, if Brook Lopez had done that. It's a team sport, so I get that. But for me personally, just sitting back and watching the difference in the Bucks team when Giannis was on the floor versus when he wasn't, that is a coaching problem, period. And I think he's going to be fine either, in this situation, simply because of how far, you're in the finals. So I think he's fine. He's not going anywhere, but I think eyes should be on him significantly. And regardless of how this goes, if we don't see a significantly better run offensive scheme, if we don't see Giannis doing something other than bully ball next season, then to me, it shouldn't matter what happens. You're not coaching these guys properly. Giannis has basically told you he is not the player that's going to take onus of the kind of game he plays. He's going to do what coach tells him to do. So if you're not telling him to do something other than what he's doing, then obviously the problem is you, and then you need to address that. So I just don't think that they're going to do much in the way of Coach Mike because they're at this point. There's all these other teams that are not. So I think his job is fine, but somebody needs to get in his ear and say, okay, your focus needs to be coaching up Giannis, and then have everyone else kind of fall in line with that. I still think the offense should run through Chris. I know that when you have a star and a 2-time MVP in Giannis, that's not going to happen. But to me, the offense should be ran. If you're going to run it through one person, if you're not going to take this Spurs mentality where it's running through all of us, then it runs through Chris for me.
So that being said, do you feel with the Bucks going up against the Suns that the Suns' pace is just too much for the Bucks to handle, regardless of how they, form their team and regardless of how they run their offense?
I mean, just from every time I looked up, Devin Booker was open. How was he always open? I don't understand that. They had no answer for Devin Booker. They had no answer for Chris Paul. So, I mean, I guess you go into the, and that's what Mike said at the end of the game. I don't know if you guys saw his post-game locker room speech, which was very quick and didn't have a lot to it. But basically he said, we're going to go watch tape. We're going to focus on game 2. That's all he said. There's a part of me that was like, you need to say a lot more than that, coach. The hell? But on the other hand, it was like, that's exactly what you need to do. You need to watch tape from this game, and you need to watch tape from when Giannis was out. And you need to conjoin what you see in those 2 tapes and go forward. Because I'm telling you, here's what I know for a fact. No matter how much tape they watch, game 2, Devin Booker and Chris Paul are always going to be open. They have no answer. No answer. So if you see that, for me, again, this is probably why I don't own a franchise, aside from the fact that I can't afford one. But aside from that part, because if I see you coaching the same way over and over and over again, and I don't have your job, I'm not being paid to be elite and see these types of things happening on the floor. You're supposed to see more than me. You're supposed to understand your players better than me. And if I can point out something that is an easy, quick fix and you're not making it, if I was the owner, I'd let you go. Again, I don't think Coach Mike is going to be gone anywhere, but I think if you go down 0-2, I don't know. For me, I would definitely think that it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Well, Jackie, before we wrap up our conversation about game 1, I just want to reconfirm, because yesterday you said you thought it was going to be Bucks in 7. Now you said Suns in 4, which I know might have been a little bit of a playful joke. But where do you stand now on this series? Is it a 7-game series? Is it going to the Bucks? Is it the Suns? What's your take after watching game 1?
I know I said this yesterday that I had to see game 1 to really give you a solid answer, but now I got to see game 2 because if they go down 0-2, then I'm going to come back here. And you were absolutely right. I was totally joking with the Suns in 4. But if they go down 2 to the Suns, then I'm definitely going to come back here and say it with my chest, Suns in 4. But if they make the adjustments, and I'm reluctant to say that they will because they haven't. The only time they made an adjustment that made sense and that worked was when Giannis was not on the floor. So I just don't anticipate them making the right adjustments with him on the floor. So if they win game 2, then I'm still going to stick to what I said, Bucks in 7, overtime on the 7th game. If they go down 2 to the Suns, Suns in 4.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that's Jackie's prediction. For those of you in the chat, if you are singing a different tune from yesterday, let us know. You might be feeling differently after watching game 1 last night. So let's move on. I want to talk about Sha'Carri Richardson. This update it's pretty devastating and it feels extremely unfair. She will not be representing the United States at the Tokyo Olympics. So yesterday, USA Track and Field announced the athletes who will be competing in the Summer Games, and she was absent from the women's 100-meter dash and the 4x100-meter relay team. And the USA Track and Field explained why she was not participating. They said, quote, "While USA Track and Field fully agrees that the merit of the World Anti-Doping Agency rules related to THC should be reevaluated, it would be detrimental to the integrity of the U.S. Olympic team trials for track and field if they amended its policies following competition only weeks before the Olympic Games. So she did originally qualify for the Olympics by winning the 100-meter dash with a time of 10.86 seconds. We talked about that on our show when it happened. And then following the U.S. trials, she received that 1-month suspension after a drug test revealed that there was THC in her system. The timing of that punishment would have allowed her to at least compete in the 4x100 relay, which is scheduled for August 5th and will conclude the following day. But now she won't be participating in anything just because of a little bit of marijuana, which is legal both here in California and in Oregon, where the Olympic trials took place. It is not a performance-enhancing drug. And honestly, this is pretty ridiculous. There's been a lot of backlash because of this, because people find her punishment to be too severe. Like I said, cannabis is not considered a performance-enhancing drug, and the recreational use of it has been legalized in many, many states, and it wouldn't affect anything that she's able to do when she's performing her athletics. I just think it's funny that people look at weed as a drug for lazy people, but then of course when it has to do with a black athlete, suddenly it is an unfair advantage. How? Explain it. It doesn't make sense. She did earn a lot of sympathy when she appeared on the Today Show, and she explained why she had been, I don't know if she was like smoking weed or if she was taking edibles or whatever it was, but why there was THC in her system, and it was because she was trying to cope with the death of her biological mother. How can we shame somebody for searching out a natural remedy to cure anxiety or depression or whatever it was that she was experiencing? I understand that there are rules in place, but this feels so outdated, as do so many of the rules surrounding marijuana. Do you think, Jackie, that with all of the support we've been seeing for Sha'Carri online, that she will be able to come back from this eventually?
I saw something online that I sent to Arthi, and I wish I would have shown it here. But her LSU family, they came out with a video that I promise you almost made me cry. If you guys want to go check it out, look Google it, LSU Tigers tribute to Sha'Carri. And it was people that went to college there from 1980 to now. And they basically told her, you know what, you'll rise from this. In that video, they said, they posted that moment in time when she was like, my family is all I got, my grandmother is all I got. And then they let her know, yeah, you have your family, but you have your Tiger family as well. We are your family. We got you, blah, 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 blah. The truth of this is all based in United States historical situations, because she could have missed this 100-meter relay, which I know we're all disappointed in, because we all were wanting to see if she was actually going to break Flojo's record. That was a big deal. She still could have done the 4x1, right? There's no ban on that. She already served her 30-day suspension at that point. There's no ban on that. This was a deliberate way to say, hey, we know she could run, but we're going to, Zen Master, you are tripping. I'm going to need you to seek the Holy Ghost, sir. You are tripping. I had to take a moment. Okay, I'm gonna get to you. I'm a DM you a whole dissertation, sir, because I can't get you like I want to get you right now, but just know that I'm coming.
I saw that too. I'm like, what the hell is going on? The chat is on a different level today. I am not feeling it, so I'm just gonna ignore. Jackie, continue on.
Whew. Bring it back. All right. So, like I said, this whole marijuana thing and the way that they're dealing with it, is specifically with Sha'Carri, is very historical, because if you Google, like I always tell you, Google is your friend. The United States government knew, I believe in the late 50s, early 60s, somewhere in there, that marijuana had vastly more medicinal benefits than anything else. Even when you smoke it, it's better than a lot of the drugs that people take right now for mental issues. They knew that, but they also knew that Black and brown communities were the ones that were using it the most. Thereby, they instituted the war on drugs, which is right now you have white folks making millions of dollars a year on weed, while you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Black and brown people still in prison for dime bags. This is a historical problem. This isn't a new thing. So attacking a Black woman who's using marijuana has historical basis in the United States government. There is a young lady, I believe her name is Gabby Thomas. She is on the U.S. sprint team. She basically came because a lot of Black people, now I'm not going to address whether you should or you shouldn't. That's your personal feeling. A lot of Black people was like, I'm not going to watch the Olympics. That comes from you not wanting us to wear swim caps that are specifically for our hair because you say it doesn't fit the natural form of the head when it's our natural hair, right? And now you're not letting this Black woman run because even after she serves her ban, the attack on Black people seems very direct. So Gabby Thomas took this moment to say, Black people should still support the Black people who are in the Olympics, and that our anger towards the Olympics was misplaced because the Olympic Committee has nothing to do with that. That's that Zen master mentality, right? That is absolutely false because the Olympic Committee has an opportunity to step into 2021. You don't have to stay back there in these ancient rules that are specifically designed to target people, because once again, we have documented, Google it, where all the timing when white folks do weed always coincides with maybe I'll just suspend you from this later, but you gonna go to the Olympics. The timing of it is so blatant and it's obvious and it's in your face. Sha'Carri actually clapped back to that young lady, and I'm glad that she did that. But this is, once again, no surprise. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. Even if the Olympic Committee had decided to stay their course, the United States, who claims it's not racist, which of course we know it is a very racist country, should have taken a time. Zen Master, look, when I told you I'm coming for you. You ain't got to say nothing else. I'm going to get to you later after the show, but I'm coming. When they could have taken this time to step up and say, you know what? No, the United States government has made it legal in her state. It is not illegal for her to do this. We support her as our athlete. But did they do this? Of course not. And the reason why is because the United States never supports Black people in things that are that they feel they can use to tear us down. This is a black and white problem. I don't care if you think it is or not. This is a historical black and white problem. And it's going to continue to be that when you don't have the same kind of outcomes on both sides of the fence. We should be allowed to wear swim caps for our natural hair. And we should not hear the Olympic Committee say it doesn't fit the natural shape of the head. What the hell is that? What does that mean? So no, this is a very direct, a very specific thing. I personally am not going to watch the Olympics. I'm going to watch highlights. I'm definitely going to watch our girl Simone's highlights. But it's hard for, it's the same thing with the NFL. When I couldn't watch the NFL for 2 years because I had this whole disdain in my heart. And let me tell you this. I'm going to say this comment and y'all take it how you want. Everything on this planet is going to be about race until it's not. Until it's not. Until things are equal across the board, everything is going to be about race, especially in this country. And I'm going to say that because I live here. It is always going to be about race when you have a system that was built on racism and terrorism. It's always going to be that way until it's not. So y'all can miss me with the whole it ain't always about race. Yes, the hell it is. I'm sorry. I know I got off on a tangent. Devin, go ahead.
No, I love everything that you had to say, Jackie, and I think that you're absolutely right. And we'd be choosing ignorance to look at this situation and not believe that it has something to do with race. I mean, just back to back in the span of 2 weeks, we see Sha'Carri be severely punished for having THC in her system, and then we have the swim caps. And I think that you'd have to be really, really overly optimistic to believe that that doesn't have anything to do with race. And then historically, if you just look at the way drug possession is, the way the amount of time that people have to serve for drug possession. I remember learning this in college. Specific drugs that were found more common in Black and brown communities were slammed with longer, harder, more difficult sentences compared to the ones that were found in traditionally more white and affluent areas. And this is something that's, you can see it. You can see it in history, and you can see it in the way people are, how much time they have to serve when they are caught possessing some sort of drug. So clearly, there is an attack
right now. When people are all up in arms about the crime bill, and that was one of the things that Joe Biden had to fight against was the crime bill, right? The crime bill, as it's written, says that if you are a true drug addict and that's your thing, and that's why you're committing these crimes, that you should receive treatment. the crime bill that was written way back in the day that did mass incarceration for Black people, it has that in there. But it was never practiced that way for Black people. Now all of a sudden a whole bunch of white people have an opioid epidemic, and now it's like, well, we need to really do that whole treatment part. We need to realize that people need help. It was in there. It was written in there, but it wasn't executed for us. So I'm gonna tell y'all this again. It's gonna be about race until it's not.
Yep, and before we move into the post-up, Jackie, one final thing that I want to say, if there are any, Black viewers or people of color or even white allies who no longer want to watch the Olympics, I understand. Why would you want to view a sport that doesn't really want you there in the first place? They're making it very difficult for you to be there in the first place. So I stand by any decision that anybody makes when it comes to watching the Olympics. I'm disappointed, and I hope that things change in the next Olympics. I hope that this is a learning process and there's a big reevaluation period. And then on that note, let's move on into the post-up. Let's get into some lighter news. Jackie, what's going on?
Yes, Devin said it exactly right. Let's get into some lighter news, because this one is Devin, I see the package now. I want to see the swimsuit though. Oh, not yet.
It doesn't look like it's not good.
Are you sending it back? Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's why the package is still there.
Yep. I ordered one that I'm sending back as well. Apparently I've gained more weight than I thought in the pandemic, but that's a story for another day. Let's get it. Like I said, let's get into the post-up. So this one is going to be fun, because imitation, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Imitation is the best form of flattery. Back in April, Chris Paul helped lead the Suns to the win over the Jazz in overtime. That's where I got my overtime thing from. When he did, he was drinking this. I want you guys to take a look at this first asset. Take a look at Chris Paul kind of taking a cue from the first Space Jam. When Bugs Bunny handed this to Michael Jordan, and it was the MJ secret stuff. Chris is drinking the Chris secret stuff. Devin Booker decided to do the same thing, but he didn't do it right. It doesn't say Devin Booker. It just says book. I'm not mad at you, Devin. No, I see the effort, but just two more words. That's all you needed. But it's adorable. I'm not mad at it. But Twitter, you guys, you need to learn to take a joke, because Twitter is not impressed. Let me show you these two assets that we have from our Twitter users. This one says, Suns got the refs on their side and still can't keep a lead. Bucks and sick. I don't know what game you was watching, but again, I didn't watch the first half. Let me throw that one back up there if you can. I want to read that bottom one too, because that bottom one is a little funny. It says, one-legged Giannis, so this game does not count. Why do you guys always look for reasons to say that games don't count? I don't understand. I have another set of mad Twitter users, if we could put that one up there right now. This one is cute too. This one, okay, no, this is the same one. Maybe I only had one, so we can go on to this next one. This is the one. It says, Book's entire personality is based off of other people, and it's a water bottle that says Book. So he's not impressed at all. It might be Under Armour, though, too, because I think he has an Under Armour endorsement, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has an Under Armour endorsement. But is it that serious? How come people can't just take this as a joke and this is funny? Ha ha. What is happening?
You know what I want to know? I want to talk to the person that says Devin Booker's entire personality is based off of other people, because, what else? Where are they getting that from? So, yes, he copied the water bottle thing. It's a freaking water bottle. What else is copying? The fact that he had to wear a mask in the same way that Kobe did? Is that him basing his entire personality off of another person? And look, I like Devin Booker. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm his #1 fan, but I don't think he deserves this kind of slander. This doesn't make any sense to me, and I really wish I knew where they were coming from.
I do too, because this to me was a moment, whether you like Devin Booker or not, this was, to me, was a ha, that's funny, good one. But no, people were legit like, Devin, no, oh my God, what is wrong? What is wrong? I don't understand.
And what I also want to know is, what games count? Like, please let us know, because there's a reason why no game should ever count now. So which games do count? Let's just clear that up right now so we can all be on the same page.
Or should we just stop playing since no game ever counts anyway? I mean, what are we talking about, guys? All right. Y'all go over there, and I guess I haven't seen Jeremiah, so maybe these were all friends of Jeremiah, because these people were staying mad the whole time on a funny moment in time. But let's move on to this next one, because this is the moment that I know Devin was talking about earlier. This is one of those comparisons that I actually enjoyed. Again, I'm not mad at the LeBron to Giannis comparisons, because I want him to be successful. I want him to be able to read the room, read the court, open up the lane, throw pass guys open. I want him to be able to do all that. I actually have really high hopes for Giannis. And again, he just needs a good coach. But I love whoever had this amount of time, which I get because that game was kind of boring. So they had the amount of time to do this side-by-side comparison of a LeBron in 2016 doing a block and Giannis doing the same one. And it was almost step for step identical. Take a look.
Pressure on your defense. Paul deflects it. Crowded at Bridges up inside, blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a recovery.
Let's watch that one more time. Yeah.
Paul deflects it. Crowded at Bridges up inside, blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a recovery.
Right? Doug in the chat said that definitely reminded me of the LeBron James block. Me as well. I love to see these moments in times for Giannis, because if you can, like I said, imitation is the best form of flattery. Why not imitate one of the best basketball players to ever do it? This is fantastic to me. His defense has never been a problem for me, though, ever. It's always been everything else. So not mad at this moment in time. I understand those of us who dwell in the kingdom might be mad. And here comes the kingdom. Let me show you these assets, because us kingdom dwellers, some of us, not me, I'm not mad, but some of us kingdom dwellers are taking this one too far. Take a look at this first tweet. Says, except, first of all, when you start a tweet with except, everything that comes after is shade. This is unnecessary. He says, except LeBron won. It was late in the game. He didn't have 17 points and get clamped by Cam Johnson, and it was game 7. But yes, similar, I must admit. Boy, if you don't, unnecessary. Let's go to this next one. Same shade from the kingdom, and then I'll get your thoughts, Devin. I think I have one more. It says, never compare that man to the GOAT again. I like his name, though. His Twitter name is I'm taking LeBron 2018 over everybody. That is your Twitter handle. Not mad at that Twitter handle, but you still doing a lot. This was just supposed to be fun. What's going on? Devin, what do you think?
I think that you have to be a complete fool to not look at those two side-by-side videos that you just showed us and not notice the similarities. Yes, It was a difference in games. One was game 1, one was game 7. That was a game 7, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe it means more, but come on. It's very obvious that they're similar. And what is the big deal if you are able to look at a specific moment in time and be able to compare? Listen, we love LeBron over here. Jackie's definitely the stronger bronzexual out of the two of us, but we're not mad about it. Who cares? People, I don't understand. Everyone's so triggered all the time.
I don't either. And I would doubt. I bet we could go to their house right now and look at their stuff, LeBron stuff. And I would bet my last $5 that I'm a bigger LeBron James fan than any of these people that said this. And I'm cool with the comparison. Some of us in the kingdom, but you know what? We're only as strong as our weakest link. So I'm not going to shade these kingdom dwellers. I'm not going to do it. But some of us need to just level up with our ability to be like, oh yeah, LeBron did do that. That was cool. Like, what's wrong with that? I don't understand. All right, let's move on to this next one, because this one, you know, that TikTok trend that says, tell me you're whatever without telling me you're whatever, right? So there's a TikTok trend to me, because this moment in time is tell me you happy to see a sister win without telling me you happy to see a sister win, because ESPN, as you know, they replaced Rachel Nichols. Now, for the record, this was a good thing to me, because I've never been a fan of Rachel Nichols in the booth. Sideline, I'm cool with, but in the booth, I'm not a fan. But so this was in the works long before this whole thing came out. But again, ESPN decided to replace Rachel Nichols with with Malika Andrews on the sidelines, and our girl Maria was in the booth. The smile on both of these two women's faces just was like, hey girl, I see you. Oh girl, I see you too. This is the best thing ever. Take a look at this. I love it.
And now it's my pleasure to welcome in Malika Andrews, who will be on the sideline for the first time in an NBA Finals game in her career. But she's not the only newbie, because there's actually only one player that has Finals experience that will be on the court here tonight. That's Jay Crowder. He has 6 games of experience, and there's no one on either team that's won a championship, Malika. So how are both teams handling the inexperience?
Oh, I love the smiles from these two women. Malika was smiling so hard, her eyes almost looked like they were closed. I love this moment in time. I love to see two women like, yep, we did this. Hey, that's all I needed was them to just be like, hey, girl, hey. If they would have done that, I'd have been like, there they go. But they didn't. I actually love this moment in time, but there was so much hate for these women that I couldn't even really look at all of it because I was just so happy for this moment in time. But this one specific tweet, I had to clap back at him. I'm not going to show you the clap back, but y'all got to read this tweet because this is hilarious. Take a look at this tweet because Dusty needs to dust off his anger because he says, I'm actually not watching this game, Copa America instead. I don't even know what that is. Because of this story, airing dirty laundry makes everyone smell bad. I'll probably tune in eventually, but there's no way I'm going to listen to Maria and Malika dance on Rachel's grave. It's the drama for me.
I saw this tweet. Sorry, I have to jump in here because I saw this tweet when I was going over our docket, and I was like, why are you, like, you're seriously going to not watch an entire NBA game because of Rachel Nichols? And also, She dug her own grave. Like, so what if people dance on it? Like, don't dig your own grave. Don't say stupid stuff when you know you might be recorded. Like, it's just... and don't say stupid stuff in general. Also, I do want to say I'm really proud of Malika. She's only 26 years old. So she has had this stellar career. And I think that it's so awesome to not only see a young woman doing this job, but also a young Black woman. So I'm obsessed with this. I think this is great. I'm thrilled for them. And I've liked Malika ever since she burst onto the scene.
Yeah, and the way that she handled the bubble last season and being open and showing her emotions, I knew at that moment in time, oh, she's star made, because I think a lot of journalists sometimes hold that in. And I think that the way that she let that show and do it professionally, yeah, she's definitely a hero for me. I love it. And like you said, she's only 26. She's super young. Dope. But I do love the clap back because this clap back that this person had for that man that was like, I am not watching because, yeah, that's basically what his tweet said. This person clapped back in the best way because I don't know if you guys remember the show Everybody Hates Chris, but this is how I was laughing. He was like, you're not watching a whole NBA game because of the Rachel story? Let's get the whole family to point and laugh at you. This is so... Let's throw stuff at you while we laugh at you. We don't throw stuff at you.
Yeah, I love that the replies are just clowning this person. I mean, really, like, Rachel does not care. You're not going to get brownie points from Rachel. She's not going to come over and give you a hug. Like, stop. This is stupid. You sound idiotic.
Yep. I love this. This was hilarious. That was a perfectly done gift. But let's go on to this next post because I know that Devin and I are going to have to dispel this rumor. This is not a thing. I know a lot of people are going to think it's a thing because it's Jamal. It'd be amazing if Jamal Murray was here in LA. We can say that would be fantastic. We can admit it. This is not a thing. We've already told you it's real estate, right? But here you guys go looking for something where it is not. So I'm going to show you this tweet and show you who liked it. So the tweet says, you probably can't see the bottom of it there, but if we can remove, there we go. It says, soon you'll embrace the moment when you join the Lakers this summer. Now, if you go to Jamal Murray's Twitter page and you go to his likes, you can see that he liked this tweet. And of course, there were stories, and I didn't even get all the tweets because come on, guys, Devin and I have gone over this with you. Liking a tweet. Guys say this all the time. Here's the funny thing is men will say this to their girlfriend, like, oh, I just liked her picture. It doesn't mean anything. So if it doesn't mean anything when you like a thirst trap, how does it mean something when a basketball player likes a tweet? Make it make sense, guys. Devin, what do you think?
I will say, I have never liked it when the men I date go and like thirst traps on Instagram, but I realize that I might be posting those pictures for someone else's boyfriend out there, so I try not to get too hung up on it because on my end, it doesn't mean anything, but not that I post thirst traps, but you guys know. Anyway.
You post thirst traps. And it's okay. People sometimes are thirsty. They need a drink. It's fine, Devin. It's fine.
Let's move away from that conversation. But when it comes to liking a tweet, this feels like just a typical troll moment to me. And we've always said that if you really want to know what's going on behind the scenes, it's all in the real estate. So if Jamal ends up selling his home or buying one in LA, then maybe we can actually take this a little bit seriously. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I think, doesn't he have a while to go before he's even a free agent?
Yeah, and they would never trade him away. And that system works. The only reason that Denver got bounced a little early was because he was hurt. This isn't a thing. This is not. It's fun to be like, ooh, maybe, but it's not. It's not a thing. It's not. But if it happens, I'll be. Hey.
We're gonna be the ones doing that.
Hey. Well, come on, and the whole show is gonna be like, so Jamal could do this, and then maybe he could do that, and you know what? We should send out a welcome committee, and we should take him here, help him buy a house there. It'll be a whole show just about how we gonna welcome him here. I just don't think we're gonna do that show. I'm just gonna let you know that now. All right, let's move on to this next one because I have said it before. I'm gonna say it in. I don't think that Frank Vogel did a good job. I just don't think he actually handled LeBron's minutes well. He brought AD too early. I have been very vocal that I don't think he handled the Drummond Gasol thing well. He didn't know what to do with that situation. He didn't handle any of that well. So I think we can all admit that. Andre Drummond, he started every game. He played in the regular season, but he only had 24.8 minutes in the regular season and then 21 minutes in the playoffs, and he didn't play in our exit game at all. So Andre had something to say about it, of course. And so there's this tweet. And now here's this thing. I don't think his initial tweet was about this moment in time per se. I think So he says, don't judge me until you know me. Don't underestimate me until you challenge me. And don't talk about me until you've talked to me. So I don't think that initial tweet was about Frank Vogel per se, but if we could throw that back up because there's a response that someone said to it that he responded to that I think started this whole thing. And he said, so this Maurice guy says, I wish you could only dominate the paint like Lopez and Ayton, like for real. And then Andre responded, he says, tell y'all coach to play me more and I could. So now it's getting into the situation. So in his defense, I don't think he necessarily played that well when he did play, but it's hard to get that chemistry, get in that groove when you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, you know? So Frank really kind of had to own that and realize that he did not play either Gasol. He did a disservice to Gasol and Andre, in my opinion. But then Andre took it another step further. He has another tweet that he said, now look, let that sit there for a while I explain this to you, because this tweet is very, very interesting. Because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was an all-star for 19 of his 20 years that he played in the game. He is third on the list for all-time scorers. LeBron James is first, if you didn't know. He won 6 MVP awards and won 6 rings. And Andre decided to say this Kareem Abdul Drummond. There's some lies detected in that. That's not of all the people that you could have hyphenated your name with. That's not it. And so here comes Twitter, as you would expect, because no one agrees with this. And I'm not mad at that. So let's throw up this tweet of disagreement. It says, bro, no diss, but a 3-time college champ, 6-time champ, 6-time MVP. I mean, Twitter be serious, I know, but tell me the joke, because this tweet ain't funny, homie. So I agree. This tweet is not funny. I always tell you guys, Google is your friend. I probably should have Googled this because I forgot, But thankfully, somebody on Twitter did Google, and they found the answer to this whole situation, because I was mad too. I'm not even gonna lie. I was a little mad at Andre doing this. And then he says, I just Googled it, and it actually way funnier. It's because Jeannie Buss compared the signing of Drummond to her dad signing Kareem. Drummond's funny as AF for taking it in stride. Okay, that makes more sense. But then he did this. No, just no. The Twitter, the guy saved you. And then what's the farewell about, Devin? I need to understand, what's the farewell about? Is the farewell...
I was just going to ask you that. What is happening here? What is the farewell about? I don't understand.
So I don't know.
I looked at that today and I was like, I got to ask Jackie about this farewell thing, because I didn't understand what's happening.
Because that's his farewell tour, you know what I mean? But so it says farewell Kareem Abdul-Drummond. But he's got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the shirt. I'm confused.
So
I don't know what's happening. Maybe if he had superimposed his head on Kareem's body, then I'd be like, okay, he's about to bounce. He's ready to go. But it's really Kareem.
So he's taking this whole joke very, very far, too far. My block says it's just a joke, y'all getting on Drum for no reason. But I don't know. Is there some truth here?
Well, because now, I just admitted, at first I was like, no, bro, that's not what you do. But then that Twitter user was like, no, I Googled it. It's actually funny. And then I was like, okay, that's funny. The shirts, especially because it says farewell to me, that, I don't know, maybe I am tripping. I can own that. Maybe I'm tripping. But the farewell, that's taking the joke too far. Once that Twitter user explained the joke, I'm like, oh, okay, haha. But then the shirt, okay, maybe I can own it. Maybe I'm tripping. Let me go on to this next one now. Because your boy Trey is enjoying the offseason, and I love that he's enjoying the offseason. I love to see any player that's enjoying the offseason, because the last thing you want to see is guys wallowing in defeat, you know? So I love to see guys enjoying the offseason. There's that TikTok trend, another dance trend. I don't know who created this dance trend, but it's not a good one. But we can't play the music, but we can show you Trey looking happy. So if we could throw him up there, I think, I want to say, given the hut that's in the background, you guys let me know where you think he is. If we could throw that video up there. I think, is this Cancun? Here come Trey.
Oh, that's a good question. Probably Cancun.
It's definitely somewhere tropical.
Some hotel, maybe like Bora Bora, but could be Cancun as well.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's in Cancun. I didn't take the time to go and check his Instagram or anything like that, but he posted that to his Instagram. I love this, that he's looking happy. And I love to see that when I went to his Instagram, that people are supporting him as well. And they're happy to see that he's happy, because, you know, a lot of times, you know, people just got shade to throw. So look at these people happy that, you know, Trey is happy. I think I have it. So it says, went right to Cancun. Okay. And then this guy says, Trey really living his best life. I like that. Okay. I'm glad that you guys are out there showing support, because again, I don't want to see nobody wallowing in self-pity. That's terrible. Now, let's move on to our new favorite person, Tampa Tom. I saw somebody in the chat say, oh, they're petty. Women are always petty. No, it's not just us, because Tampa Tom is the king of petty. And I'm going to show you how petty Tampa Tom is, because in a game of Celebrity Golf Jeopardy, he took the moment to insert I know he did this on purpose. I'm not even gonna ruin it for you. I'm just gonna let you watch it. Watch Tampa petty in this Celebrity Jeopardy round. Take a look.
He's unhappy with his boss and has no options. Who is Aaron Rodgers?
Ding ding, that is correct. Well done.
It's a projection, Tom. I never said I'm unhappy with my boss.
I said it, not you.
First of all, the reason why that's funny, I don't even know if you saw it. That wasn't even the question. The question was, oh, you know, who is this owner who was also in Game of Thrones? Tom Brady changed the question to he's unhappy with his organization, has nowhere to go. And then he was doing it the whole time they were golfing. While they were playing golf, he was doing the whole time. I love that the cameras picked this up when Grunk called Tom Brady. He's giving Grunk the business, like, you better be ready for next season. But he also takes time to shade Aaron Rodgers. Take a look.
Around you, you're smart like that.
Robbie G, you're not, hopefully not at the beach too much. You're ready to go, aren't you? I mean, we're going here in 3 weeks. I know my guy works hard.
I mean, I'm wondering if you're ready. You missed all of OTAs. You're out golfing now. You haven't seen me do anything. I've been just training, getting ready, catching footballs.
I'm studying my competition. Look, I'm 30 yards away from Aaron, who's the leader of the Packers. I think.
The leader of the Packers, I think. So here's the thing. I didn't watch I did watch some of the celebrity golf tournament just because I was curious. But there was a, post golf, I don't know, post game or whatever. And they were asking Aaron Rodgers, okay, some golf questions. And then, so what's going on with, the Green Bay Packers? Where are you guys at? What do you think this upcoming season? That was a question that kind of threw me off. What do you think this upcoming season is going to look like? Because that's a fair question. You can answer that from a football standpoint where you don't necessarily address your status with the team. He didn't answer it. He did not. He avoided all questions related to the Green Bay Packers. So maybe I have a theory. It's a conspiracy theory. Maybe Aaron Rodgers has confided in Tom Brady that he's absolutely not going back to Green Bay no matter what. And now Tom is just egging him on. Like, you need to tell people. That's my theory.
Don't you think that would be taking too much liberty with private information? I know Tom's a big jokester, but I think that, for him to kind of be like teasing this information that hasn't been put out yet, that would end up being like a major no-no just on a man-to-man level between the two of them. I'm not sure. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers wants to be staying in Green Bay, but I also don't know that he's confided in Tom with anything.
I don't know. I could see it could be a situation where I was like, I'm not going back there, man. I don't care who knows. I'm just not going to talk about it right now. And so I could see Tom being like, well, since you don't care who knows, I got a ton of jokes about this. I don't know. Because Tom is just out there. He has no regard for anything right now. He's just living his best life. So I don't know. That's a good point, though. But that thought process kind of leads to Aaron's face, because both times he was just looking at Tom like, bro, just shut the hell up. So I don't know. I kind of feel like that's what's going on, but I could be wrong.
If that's the case, it makes me like Tom even more. It makes me like Tom even more because he's just so like degaff. Like, he just doesn't care at all.
Exactly. All right, let's get into our final post up of the day. This is actually exciting. This is some good. Well, it's kind of exciting because there's always when something positive happens, there's always somebody on Twitter that'll find some way to insert some negativity. But this to me is some really good news because if you guys remember, it was not too long ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I told you about Cameron Kinley. He plays football for the Navy, and countless other Navy people have this disclaimer. And I know Trump put this in some kind of clause where if you are going to the Naval Academy to play football and then you end up with the opportunity to go to the NFL, you can defer your service. So you can go out and fulfill your dreams of being in the NFL and then come back to the Navy at a later date, which I actually think is great because a lot of these guys go broke after the NFL. So if you automatically have a job awaiting you, I think this is a great thing. And I love that they have this opportunity to do both, play the game and then go back and have this job in the military. So good news to report. So I want you guys to take a look at this tweet. I was super excited about it. It says Defense Secretary to now allow Navy cornerback and Naval Academy class president Cameron Kinley the opportunity to sign with Tampa Bay Buccaneers and attend training camp. Official announcement coming soon from the Pentagon. And then you see Cameron in the lower part there with the praying hands and said God's plan. I thought that was amazingly good news because, again, it doesn't affect his military service. He's still required to do that. And like he said, he wants to serve his country. That's what he wants to do. But he wants to do both. He wants to serve his country and he wants to fulfill his dream in the NFL. I think that is amazing. But here comes the clown brigade. They just wait on Twitter. So this guy, Ted, whatever the heck, says Kinley knew what he was getting into when he started his junior year at the Naval Academy. He could have walked away and went to another university and played in the NFL. First of all, it's hard to state. He knows that transferring schools makes it difficult. Anyway, I feel he has betrayed the agreement with the Navy and the U.S. taxpayers who paid for his education. And Mr. Pete says there are far worse things that taxpayers have been betrayed for. At least in this case, a solid, hardworking human will benefit. I agree with that bottom one as well. There's another person who is really upset. I don't want to say really upset, but it seems like they just got too much time on their hands. I think I have, maybe that was my only tweet. Yes, this one says, he needs to fulfill his military service. He knew the rules. And then bottom one says, and when will his NFL career be over? So y'all already going to the end of his career before he's not breaking. To me, patriotism always looks like racism. I'm just going to let you guys know that now. When you're so patriotic that trumps everything, that always, somebody said, Gary says, I hate nationalism. Absolutely. Because it always looks like, because if you're so concerned about the rules, then you should know the rules say that he could do this, you big dummy. Oh, this just gets on my nerves. But that's all I got for the post up. I'm excited to hear that good news. Now we're going to get into what we not going to do, because this one is going to be interesting for me because I'm right in the middle. I'm kind of on KD's side. I'm kind of on Steve Kerr's side. I'm like right in the middle. So let's get into it, because we all know that Kevin Durant has several burner accounts. I think he's defaulted to only using his main account, because I haven't seen any tweets from and I think we all figured out all of his burner accounts. So I think he got rid of them. Maybe he's got new ones that I just haven't figured out yet. But I think he's just sticking to his one regular Kevin Durant account. So with that being said, though, we've criticized him for being on Twitter and social media all the time and kind of internalizing that and all of that good stuff. So Steve Kerr apparently had a problem with KD being on social media so much, which, again, I'm not entirely mad at. So he did an interview recently where he said that he told Kevin Durant that he needed to figure out a way to move past the criticism that he was getting from fans on social media. He told him that he should literally try to channel his inner LeBron so he can just look past stuff, not address it, and move on. He also said that he would spend enormous amount of time just staring at the phone and trying to figure out ways to clap back at people. He said as soon as the GOAT conversation came about, KD was just sitting in the locker room in the corner on his phone looking at ways to, try to tweet back at people. So I understand that, and it's detrimental to you as an athlete, but KD caught wind of this, what Steve Kerr said in this interview. In his first tweet to Steve Kerr said, kick rocks. You don't need to speak about me. But his second tweet, I have to admit, I'm not mad at all. He says, I don't see a problem with me interacting with basketball fans. It should be encouraged. Steve should have said that I'm never late and I work through every rep in practice with game speed. That should be more interesting than what I do on Twitter. So I don't disagree with either person here. I agree with Steve. Because Devin and I have talked about this several times, sometimes on the show, sometimes off, that you'll be on Twitter or on TikTok for me, and I'll look up and like an hour has passed and I've just spent an hour of my day on TikTok, because you fall down these rabbit holes. Twitter's like that for me. Obviously, for the post up, I have to get all these tweets. If you guys just want fun reading sometime one day, just go to some of the tweets that I post here. And I get into these battles. You fall down these rabbit holes, right? When you're trying to stay focused for a game, then your coach should want you to stay focused for a game. What some troll says on Twitter or Instagram shouldn't matter to you, because they're on Twitter or Instagram. You're in the NBA. You're about to go out here and fight for this ring. You're living out your dream. What somebody else says about you shouldn't matter at all. So I totally agree with Steve Kerr on this one. But I also agree with KD. You are an entertainer, regardless of the fact that, yes, you're an athlete, you're an entertainer. And how cool is it, whether it's a clap back, whether it's an acknowledgement or something, when KD responds to a tweet. That is literally making someone's day in a big way. And they're going to cherish that moment for a long time to come, good or bad, even if it's a battle. So KD responding to these fans and kind of increasing their fandom in any way, I think is a great thing. So I'm literally on the fence right here. So that's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to say that neither person has a point. I would say KD's right. If he's on Twitter, but he's still going out there doing every single thing that his coach wants him to do, if he's still making his team better, if he's practicing, if he's involved, then what he does when he's in the locker room, okay, maybe Steve Kerr could have implemented some sort of rule that while I'm giving you my speech or while I'm talking, no social media. No social media in the locker room. You could have said that as well. That doesn't mean that KD's not going to go home. A lot of employers have that. You can't be on your phone at work. Yeah, he's a grown man. It's a little harder to do that in the NBA. But I get Steve Kerr's point. I 100% get KD's point. I'm right in the middle. I'm Switzerland right now. I don't know. I think both of them are right in their own way. So Devin, what do you think?
Well, I think that when it comes to social media usage, especially when you're in the public eye and you're performing on this national, even international stage the way KD is, there has to be a balance with what you're doing on social media. And I think based on what Steve said, it sounds like sometimes the Twitter usage and the clapbacks and the burner accounts maybe got in the way of practice or changed, KD's mentality going into a game or whatever it is. And obviously when something online starts to affect you in real life, then that's when you need to take a step back. So, I kind of see where you're coming from. I've always thought that KD's burner account usage was pretty ridiculous and petty to a level where I couldn't get behind, even though it was always funny to talk about. So I don't know. I mean, it is kind of an interesting battle here. I think that out of all the things to notice about KD, his social media usage stands out, but he also is obviously such a top performer in the league and he does so well. And, I think that what he said was really valuable. Like he should have talked about how I'm never late for practice and I always, show up on time or whatever. So I feel like, honestly, I don't want to just agree with you because I feel like it's fun when we have differing opinions, but I feel like I'm in the middle of this as well. So I don't really know what to say here. And he's not the only one.
I mean, I've seen interviews in the locker room, when we could go into locker rooms, and you see guys are on their phones. He's not the only one. Now, to Steve's point, he's probably one of the few that internalizes it so much, and we can visibly see how he internalizes it because of how he claps back at people. So there is the difference, But like I said, I've literally seen interviews, and they're interviewing some guy, and every guy's at their locker room, at their locker, It's just the society we live in. You can go into any restaurant right now. You'll see whole families of people and they're not even talking to each other. They're all on their phone. That's the society that we live in. So, and again, he's not the only one that's doing it. I think Steve maybe was saying that it affects him more, but it doesn't affect. He might internalize that in the way where he's like Dame now because he's always a threat. Anytime he's on the floor, he's always a threat. So I don't think it affects his game like that, but I don't know. We're Switzerland over here, I guess. I don't know.
We are Switzerland. All right, you guys. Well, on that note, let's wrap up the show for the day. Thanks for tuning in. We have Challenge Accepted coming out at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so make sure you tune in. Check that out. That's going to be Jackie, and it is a great show. I haven't seen this episode, but I've been loving what I've seen so far. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for our live show. Subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Bye, everyone.